been talking about investment, the best investment. This is our um, last sermon in this particular series. And we've talked about how God invests in us, right? We've talked about how we invest in him. And that doesn't really happen unless you know God or put the time in to really get to know him, to understand what he has in store for you. Because we want him to invest in us. But we also want to have the opportunity to invest in him so that we know we can get something in return. You know, it's kind of reciprocal, right? You know, we invest, he invests, it goes back and forth. So when we look at that, when you invest your money, if you have invested your money in anything, if you take the time to reach into your pocket and invest, I ain't talking about give away, I'm talking about invest. You expect something in return, right? Amen. Well, what comes with that? Trust. I got to trust that what I'm investing in is going to do me right. I can't just give something. I don't have enough money just to be given just to see maybe, might happen, might not. I got to trust it's going to come back in a good way. So when we go back to look at how society goes, we are surrounded by ideas, we're surrounded by processes, we're surrounded by ways of life that tell us this is the best way to have the best security in life. What is security? Security means that this is the best way for me to feel comfortable, right? To have what I need throughout my life. So we invest in order to help ourselves have a better life, have more security. Makes sense, right? That's just life 101 in a sense. And we want to enjoy it. Benjamin Franklin said something, wrote something. He said the only thing that is true in life is death and what? Y'all remember? Taxes. Death and taxes. Y'all heard that saying before, right? The only thing true in life, death and taxes. And he's right. And they coincide at a certain time. We know we're going to die. We know we're going to be taxed. And even after you die, depending on how much money you got, your estate is taxed. So a lot of time people die, and then their loved ones are left to pay taxes. If you have a $5 million estate, I think it's 40%, right? That's a lot of money that you spend all your time earning, and the government say, you gone, let me get half of that. That's rough. Death and taxes, right there together. Now, when we look at that, we say, imagine going through life, accumulating all this wealth, doing all this work to get it. It's not just getting the money, it's what it takes to make it, right? Amen. It's not just getting the wealth, it's the effort that it takes, the relationships, the time, all the blood, sweat, and tears just to accumulate to get your pockets nice. And then you can't take none of it with you. If you laying there in a nice house versus laying there in a not so nice house, you really just laying there. It don't matter at that point. But if ain't nobody in the room with you, the same feeling exists, right? You ain't thinking about all this stuff. You thinking about the people. You thinking about the lives. Everybody say, I want to die, surrounded by loved ones. Why? Because that's a nice way to go. Nobody really say they want to just die alone in a field, or you want to be loved. But that takes an investment as well in order to get that moment. You don't want to pass away in a room full of strangers you don't know. You want, they say, loved ones. So Jesus, thinking about this, illustrated this very point. Go to Luke 12. Luke 12, and go to verse 13. Luke 12, 13. Someone asked Jesus in the crowd, they said to him, Teacher, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. So imagine getting this question, right? This is such a great teacher. Hey, tell my brother to divide the inheritance with me. And Jesus replied, Man, who appointed me a judge or an arbiter between you? Then he said to them, Watch out, be on guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in an abundance of possession. Notice what that says. Life does not consist in an abundance of possession, meaning all your possessions is not where you should be putting a lot of your time and effort into, right? He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place. Oh, I jumped down. I'm sorry. I jumped down. And then he told them this parable. The ground of a certain rich man yielded an abundant crop or harvest. He thought to himself, what shall I do? I have no place to store my crops. Then he said, this is what I'll do. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones, and there I will store my surplus of grain. And I'll say to myself, you have plenty of grain laid up for many years. Take life easy. Eat, drink, and be merry. Let's pause right there. So when we look at that, here we have a rich man who had what you call a bumper crop. Okay, this means he had excess. He had more than he planned. With that bumper crop came more money. Now, unsure of what to do with the excess, he said, I'm going to build some more. Store this up. Right? I got more than I need. I'm comfortable. I can put my feet up a little bit. I can relax a little bit. To paraphrase, he decided he wanted to enjoy himself and enjoy his life a little bit. Now, we read this, and when you put your holy glasses on, right, you say, you know what, that's shame on him. I want to relax in this time where God wants us to toil and make sure that we live in a life that's dedicated to him. Man, if y'all had surplus, who in here wouldn't relax? If you had your pockets, you just woke up one morning and there was a stack of money and a note said, it's yours, don't worry about it, everything cool, and they had all the paperwork there, and you had a security guard there to assure you this was not stolen, everything was cool, you just have a friend somewhere that left it to you. You don't owe them a thing. But it was enough money for you and your family to do what you need. Enough money where you could walk into anywhere where you worked and say, nice. And they say, what? I don't owe you a thing. What about your insurance? I'm good, right? That's how much money you got. What you gonna do next? Go buy a bunch of stuff, right? We gotta go spend it. Now we done shelled it out, all right? Now we're going to go buy some bigger stuff, house car type stuff, right? And we're going to take us a trip because we can't relax enough here, even though we got all that stuff. We got to go somewhere else and find somewhere else to do what? Relax. Because we ain't going on a trip to go hiking. We going somewhere to put our feet up and boss somebody around. I don't know who you are, but you about to get bossed around today. That's our feeling, right? And we go there and we relax and we come back home and what we do? Relax some more. Then we drive around in our car, relaxed. Sound good, don't it? But ain't that what you work for? Ain't that what the world wants you to do? Ain't that what you want to do? It sound good, don't it? Who want to say, man, the same scenario, I got all this money, I don't know what to do. You got enough money to where you got to build another bank to store your money. That's a lot of money, right? Now, is in your mind, boy, I got all this money. Let me get to work. Let me get to work, man. Let me get to work. Lord, tell me what you want me to do because I'm ready to work. I got all the resources I need to work. No, you may give the money. Hey, man, y'all go take care of them people. Hey, man, I give to this. I give to that. I give to this. But when people see you, they don't see worker. They see somebody who's willing to invest and give, right? But we don't work. Now, you look at this one or two ways. If you have money, right, if you're living pretty good, you say, he's supposed to relax. But if we don't have money, we read this parable and say, no, he's supposed to give to others. But in neither situation do we think he needs to work. Because all of us know that if we gain enough, we gaining it in order to relax and enjoy the fruits of our labor. That's what I earn. I earn the right not to work. So what is God telling us? And then in verse 20, it says, but God said to him, you fool, this very night your life will be demanded from you. Then you will get what you have prepared for yourself. This is how it will be for whoever stores up things for themselves, but is not rich towards God. So now we see God's instruction. it's not about the work to gain money. It's about the work to gain favor with God. So he still has to work, but the work may not look like work to you or I, because we work the way we work in order to gain money, to make a living. It's a lot of people doing things they don't want to do in order to pay the bills. But when you got enough money to pay the bills, where does your time need to go? To what God needs for you to do. What does God want us to do? The relationships, the people, doing the things that he has deemed important. And when we look at that, we see that God requires of us certain things. He has certain things that he wants us to do, even though we have to work 8 hours, 9 hours, 10 hours, whatever you got to do. God still has requirements of us. And why is that? Because when you get older, and I'm not talking about old, right? I say older. You start to realize life a little bit different. You start to see what's important in life. When you get to a certain age and you realize you've had certain successes, but you look around and there's nobody there, life gets a little lonely. But when you're young, you can care less. I don't need nobody. I can find some friends. There's people at the club. I go to the club and I talk to people. I leave, they there. But then when you stop going to the club and you stop going to these hangout places, whatever they may be, you start to realize you don't have a lot of substance in relationships. And that takes work. But God says you are a fool to put your life towards substance, meaning things. You can't take it with you. See, in the eyes of the world, since 1989, the number one goal of people who are graduating college is to be rich. And that's number one. Not to be wealthy, not to be well off, not to have enough, not to have success. Rich, right? That's number one goal. It has not came down off the list since 89. 89 to some of us don't seem like that long ago. To others, it was a long, long, long time ago, right? And to me, it was just a little while ago. But we look, that's a lot of years for that to still be number one and never waver, to be rich. And who doesn't want to be rich? So we can have security. Funeral homes, if you go to their website, they tell you the items that you can be buried with. Some of the coffin even comes with drawers for pictures and jewelry and whatever else you want to put in it. Nice size drawers too, not them little skinny ones, nice dresser drawer. And then you get buried, and you throw dirt on the coffin and dirt on your stuff. And then somebody come in with a little shovel and dig up the dirt, slide you up and pull out that drawer, and ain't no hand gonna come out there and say, hey, that's mine. It's gone. And now it's back in circulation again, just like that. And if nobody dig it up, the same way the body rots, the stuff gonna rot too. Ain't nothing gonna happen with that stuff. But that just shows you how tethered we are to the things of this world. We want it. This was the thing that he loved the most. We're going to bury him in this suit. That man don't care what suit he buried in. He just there, right? You put him on some dancing shoes and dress him up to look like some costume. It'll affect the people around, but it wouldn't affect him. That time is for the people who are left behind. And all that stuff going into the drawers, no matter how much you put into it. Look at all the Egyptians, right? People go into the tomb, that stuff's still there. And they supposed to be there to be protected. Ain't nobody stop nobody from taking it. It might be a booby trap or something, but other than that, stuff right there, right for the taking. And they'll take all that stuff and think about how much time and effort was put into the building of this stuff. Not just the pyramid, but the stuff that went in it. A lot of time taking to mold that craft and match this with that and build all these things. And then in some cases, when the king died, then the people and guards, they had to die too. So they had to protect him. And so when he started coughing, you, hey man, you better, somebody got something, elderberry or something to get rid of that. Because I ain't ready, right? That's rough. So now you sitting there with him, And guess what? When they break into the tomb, they get all that stuff, and then they don't even spend it. They just go put it in a museum for people to go, that's nice, and keep on walking. That's how much time was put into it. Imagine what you could have did with that time and that effort. A lot. But God says, don't put all your effort into these things. And I know death is an uncomfortable subject, but it's just true. So the reason for this parable is he's telling us life is more important than possessions. Don't invest all that. We're more than our jobs. We're more than the money that we make. But then we say, well, if I'm more than my job and the money that I make, then what is life about? Because if I ask you, hey, who are you? What do you do? First thing you say is your job. Who are you? I'm a fill in the blank. It's usually your job. I'm a baker. I'm a contractor. Right? You don't usually say, oh, I'm a father, a husband, and a giver of this, that, and the third. That's way down the list. I got to ask more questions to get to that. But when I ask, who are you? The first thing comes is your job. That's what we identify with. But should we? We're bigger than our job. Sometimes my job is just a way to a mean, right? Don't mean anything. It's just a way we can lose that job and go become something else overnight. And we're no longer a baker. We used to be a baker, but the bakery closed. Now we're a cook online. We don't bake no more. Then that closed, and now we make shoes. Whatever skill we got, we can apply it. But that's not who you are. You're God's child. You just got to know that. But how do you know that? See, here's the one thing. We invest our time in the job because we trust that the job's going to give us what we need. But we don't invest in God as much as we invest in the job. I'm not just talking about time. I'm talking about your mental state and everything else. Well, why don't we do this? Because we can't see. One, we can't see him. Two, we can't see where he's taking us. He has the eyes, but imagine how much trust it takes to really trust in somebody when you don't know where you're going. I don't know how many of y'all ever sat in a car with somebody you don't know and don't know where you're going. I've been there a few times, and it's not comfortable. Because you're sitting there like, what am I doing? Why am I in this car? Who is this? Where are we going? And when you get there, you go, whew. All right, they were honest. They brought me to where I thought I needed to be. But during that trip, you was wondering what decisions you done made, questioning yourself because you with somebody you don't know and don't trust. You don't want to be with nobody you don't know and don't trust. Here's something we can learn. The Paralympics, right? Paralympics is for people with different disabilities. And it's similar to the Olympics. It's actually not linked to the Olympics. I didn't know that. But it's distinctly the Paralympics. They have a lot of events for people with disabilities that do things that's, to be honest, more amazing than a lot of the things that people do who are fully able to do it. So they have one event for people who want to swim but who are blind. They even have events where they swim in the ocean. You believe that? You blind, you can't see a thing, and you're swimming in the ocean. But if you are swimming in an Olympic pool with lanes, right? RJ, bring the picture. When you are swimming in those lanes, they have people on the end called tappers, right? And they have these sticks, like a long Q-tip on the end of it, that taps the person's head to let them know when they're getting too close to the edge. Because last thing you want to do is get too close to the edge and hit your head on that concrete. So this tapper just taps your head, let you know you're getting close so you can stop. Because you're swimming pretty fast. There's a lot of trust in that person to tap you at the right time because you just swimming. You got to trust that somebody's going to tap you so that you can hold up or you'll hurt yourself. They also have blind sprinters going as fast as they can. And they can't see, they got different levels. So they put the goggles on because they have different levels from T3 to T11. And if you're T11 means you're completely blind. If you're completely blind, you get matched up with a guide. And this guide is tethered to you. Your hands are tied together basically with a piece of string or rope. And then you run full speed. It's not just straight. You hitting the curves too, just like anybody else. And you have to trust that this person is guiding you. Now, if I tied my hand to yours right now, and I'm healthy, they don't have no cane, right? We both can see. And we going to run from right here to the back of that door. Full speed. Taked up. Full speed. We going to make it? I don't think we going to make it. Somebody going to fall. And that's with us being able to see. So you can imagine if one person can't see and they have to rely on this person telling them, turn is coming, stay in lane, guide you this way, guide you that way. The goal is for them to look as though they are one when they are running. To go stride for stride. So you have to trust that that person is there, and that other person also has to be selfless, because it's not about them. Amen. It's about you. It's about you who are running, but you are running blind. You have to fully trust that this person has your best interest at heart, that they're leading you the right way. You are going full speed. You don't have time for mistakes. Now, when you walking, you ever close your eyes, just see what it's like, and you can feel your way around. Even if you in an open field, and I just say, ain't nothing around here, put some blinders on and tell you to run. That's scary. So imagine all these crowds cheering. You out here in the middle of this, in a lane that ain't got no guardrails on it, and you are tied to another human being who you have never seen before, because you can't see anybody. But you feel their presence. And I tie your hands up, and I say, you have a goal. This person's going to lead you to that goal, full speed. So when that go off, you break out in blind trust, knowing my goal is to get to the end, but the only person who can see the end is my God. I don't know when to stop. I don't know when to turn. I don't know what to do other than what they tell me to do. If they wanted to, they could run me into a wall. If they wanted to, they could make me fall. If they wanted to, they could make me lose. But I trust that this person has my best interest at heart. So even though I can't see where I'm going, I'm going to trust their eyes. Even though I don't know what's next, I'm going to trust what they can see. Even though I don't know where the finish line is and I don't know where to stop, I'm going to trust their voice as they lead me to victory. That's where we're going. We're going to victory. Now imagine the level of trust and selflessness on both parts that takes. That's a lot. Versus if I train myself, I do it myself, I start myself, and I sprint and I win all by myself. That's what I want. You don't want to have to trust nobody else, do we? But you cannot win this race without trusting in God. And the day that you decide to tie your hand to his, and him to say, you ready? Because we about to run. And how many of us done stop? We tied to God, we saved, but he's standing there while we got to feel around. Hold on, I'll make sure you don't run me into that. And then you move a little bit. And you say, hold on, let me see where I'm at. This don't feel right. I ain't never been here before. He say, I know. Come on. And he trying to get you, because the one thing about the guide never pulls the runner. The guide guides the runner. The runner's in control. The runner knows where he's going, but the guide knows where they're going. But the runner can hold up the guide even though the guide knows the destination. So when you holding up where God wants you to be and then you wondering why you still there, it's because you ain't trusting how he's leading you and guiding you and taking you. He sees the destination. You can't. He sees the glory. And the folks looking around you like, you ain't even going through life. And then you complaining, I just wish I had a better walk with him. He said, I ain't trying to walk with you. I'm trying to run. You the one feeling around. See, the thing is, when you running, you ain't got time to feel. But also when you running, stuff ain't got time to catch you. So while you feeling around, everything else catching up to you. And you wondering why you can't leave the mess behind because you in it. He's saying, I'm trying to run you out the mess, but you keep stopping to feel around in it. And then you get nasty again. Now we got to clean you up so that you prepared to run. Because you can't run with all that stuff on. We not sleek. We not clean. We not good. You got to make sure you look good for the finish line. I ain't trying to drag you across the finish line. I'm not going to even carry you across the finish line. You're going to make it across the finish line. But how? And in what way? And then how many of y'all trying to take all this stuff with you? He telling you, put that stuff down. You can't hold my hand and that stuff. You trying to pull my hand over to the stuff. Guess what? I'm trying to free you from all that stuff. So the only thing you tied to is me. So if me and you tied together, you got one hand free. What you going to do with it? You're going to either wave by or tell people to come on. That's your two options. So you tell people to come on and let's go. And when you see people trust him and run with him, guess what? They make it somewhere. They do something. So when we look at this, go to Luke chapter 7, verse 1 through 10. And I'm going to just touch on this. Y'all can definitely read it. But this is when Jesus talks to the centurion. When he talks to the centurion has a sick servant who's at the house. And he tells the servants to go get Jesus, to bring him here, right? And we see that in verse 5, they say, this man is a good man. He helped build the synagogues, right? Try to justify him a little bit. And then we see that in verse 6, he tells the centurion tells you, don't trouble yourself. Don't come under my roof, okay? I'm not worthy. But Jesus says, this man, Jesus was amazed at him. It says in verse 9, go to verse 9. It says, when Jesus heard this, he was amazed at him. And turning to the crowd, following him, he said, I tell you, I have not found such great faith even in Israel. Then the men who had been sent returned to the house and found the servant well. So imagine the trust that this man had to have in Jesus to heal his servant without physically showing up. But he knew who Jesus was. He didn't see, he knew. So a lot of times this world has conditioned us to go by what we see, to go by what we hear, to go by what's happening around us. This is why the media can control the narrative so easily. Because if they say we got a rapist on the loose, if that's the story, guess what they go with? You just hear about rape after rape after rape. My goodness. I'm not going to work tomorrow. Why not? There is a rapist on the loose. That's how they make it sound. Everybody's scared. Like, who is this man? He is terrorizing the state. That's how it sounds. Because that's the thing. And then guess what? Somebody got killed. Another person got killed. Now they killing everybody. I don't know who gonna be around. I am scared to go to church. Why? They killing everybody. Now I'm nervous. Now it's these spam calls and people taking my money. I will not answer the phone. Why not? They take it. I answered the phone and my bank account went down while I was looking at it. What you do? I said, hello. Oh my goodness. And don't trust the contractor. Oh my goodness, that's the I-team. Somebody was supposed to put on my roof, did Jesus? And now look at my roof. Oh my goodness, my roof is bad. I will not be getting a new roof this year. I saw 5 stories this week on contractors sticking people with bad roofs. See, y'all seen it? I ain't making it up. It's whatever they want to run with. But if we listen to it enough, you get fear, and now you thinking, I can't even go to Kroger. They're going to snatch me out of Kroger and throw me in the cart and kill me right there by the oodles and noodles. Right? I don't want to go out like that. But that's how you can condition yourself. And sadly, some people do. But if you don't trust in God, where else can you put your trust? I got to trust the media because that's all I got. I got to trust what people saying because that's all I got. I got to trust the world because that's all I got. And when it don't work, I have nothing. But when you tie yourself to him, and when he say, hey, I'm going to tell you this, you're going to hear a sound. And you say, what's that sound? The sound's going to be me telling you to go. Okay, what do I do then? Well, I'm going to prepare you I'm going to train you. I want you to get down in this particular stance so that when you hear that sound, you are in prime position to go as fast as you can through this life, as efficient as you can through this life. But the only thing you got to worry about is there are going to be a lot of people talking. There are going to be people right next to you, the voices you're going to hear. But do you hear my voice? And you say, okay, I hear it. Do you hear the sound of it? Do you hear how when I'm getting serious, do you hear how that is? You know my voice. I know your voice. So even in the crowd, if you hear my voice, you can tell the difference. Yes, I can. All right, that's the only voice I want you to pay attention to. Now, when I say go, you trust me. In fact, to make sure that you right there with me, let's tie our hands together. That way you know I'm there. That way if you ever feel like you're alone, all you got to do is squeeze that hand. That way if you ever feel that you out here, you don't know what's happening, just squeeze your hand. You will know I'm there because the only hand that's tied to you is mine. There's nobody else that's going to be tied to you except for me. Now, I'm going to tell you this. You can choose to venture. You can choose to go another way. You can choose to stop. But if you listen to my voice and follow my lead, you are going to be in such a great place so quickly that you will be amazed at where you are and you will be amazed at how you got there. So are you ready? Yes, I'm ready. And he says, go. And if you have the faith to truly trust and go stride for stride with him, because he's not going to go faster than you. He's not going to go slower. He will never hold you up and he will never just pull you. You in control. But if you choose to follow him with blind trust and go stride from stride, and when he say lean to the left, you lean to the left. Lean to the right, you lean to the right. And he said speed up just a little bit, you speed up. Nope, slow down a tad, you slow down. And he said, don't worry about that, just listen to me, listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. You listening and your ears get more and more in tune. And then he say, stop, and you stop. And next thing you know, your eyes pop open and you look around and you there in glory. Ain't that a beautiful, beautiful thing? Ain't that a beautiful thing? Versus things pulling on you, holding on you, tugging on you, and you hurting and pain and all this stuff going on. When you know you can escape it, the only thing you got to do is trust in him. There's nothing more beautiful than that. So what will you do today? Will you choose to trust? I'm not talking about sinner to be saved. I'm talking about Christians. We holding up our process, trying to fill around in the world. And he trying to take us out of this world into a place. We holding up the process, trying to carry a bunch of stuff. Trying to obtain a bunch of stuff we can't even afford. I see so many people whose bank account is low. But something new came out and they got to have it so they can look like they got more than what go in it. I want y'all to think about something. All right, just imagine for 1 second. Imagine you got on a nice outfit. Pick it out, whatever you like, right? And the outfit costs more than what you got in your pocket. Meaning you wearing, if I pulled your wallet out, I ain't talking about cash, I'm talking about don't pull them debit cards out. Let's slide it into the ATM. And what the ATM show, I look at the price tag on them shoes and them clothes, and it's more than what's showing on the screen. Does that make sense? And if it go tick, and you say, ooh, I got paid, and you go buy the shoes to match the outfit, and it go doot, does that make sense? It don't make no sense, but it's a lot of people thinking like that. And now they can't take none of that stuff with them. And then next year, this stuff ain't worth nothing because it's stuff, and that's what stuff do. But in order to sell you stuff, I have to make stuff useless. People, we technically only need, 3, 4 outfits? Technically, right? Back in the day, you know, you look at the old pictures of the 50s. When you look at the pictures of the 50s, you know how they was always dressed up. Looked like no matter where they went, they was on a picnic. They had the button up. Then nobody really had T-shirts on because they didn't really own that stuff. They had maybe 2, 3 outfits. That was it. Wasn't no tennis shoes and sneakers. You had them shoes on. That's your shoes, right? And you better shine all them shoes, them your shoes. That's how they work. But now we in a place where we frivolously need. But they can disguise it on you. And now you pouring more into this stuff than you are to your almighty God. So we have to put him where he needs to be. Didn't say you can't get that stuff. But don't put it higher than him ever.